Merry me. So this is gonna be a video about spiritual and magical BDSM. Now, of course, this is a big topic, so it would be impossible for me to cover it all in this little video. But it's just gonna be a little bit of an introduction to the topic, because a lot of people ask me about this, and also a little bit of a disclaimer of what it's not. So let's begin. What is spiritual BDSM? Well, spiritual BDSM is BDSM where spirituality takes a big part of it. Now, for a lot of, for example, Christians who practice this, they read in the Bible where, for example, slavery is advocated, and it's said that a slave serves God by serving her master. Now, I know that this is a controversial topic because it was exactly the thing that we used to keep slavery alive in the United States. And I do realize the history of that. But still, this is consensual. But anyway, for many people then feel that it is a spiritual act for the slave to serve his or her master. So, for example, that's one way to bring religion into it. And basically, spiritual BDSM is having a spiritual twist to the BDSM dynamics. Now, sometimes people can go out and directly seek out spiritual BDSM, or they might just be of these religions, and the religions then takes part also in their kink life. I mean, it's like I'm pagan when I cook, I'm pagan when I clean. I mean, when I clean my floors, I see it as a ritual to cleanse negative energy out of the house. Because I am pagan, this is part of my beliefs. So I might add some herbs to the wash water, say a prayer, and so on, and it becomes a magical ritual for me because that is part of who I am. And when I cook, I see cooking very much as alchemy. It's mixing together several ingredients that then becomes bigger than the sum of their parts. And all of this, so basically my spiritual beliefs then takes part in all of my life. And for many people who are into spiritual BDSM, that is also how it works. Basically, you have your spiritual faith, whatever faith that might be, and it then makes its way into your sexual or kink life as well. Others seek it out and sort of form their BDSM dynamic around this. Like I had a teacher, an online teacher, who did this with Hindu spirituality. And I stopped being taught by him because I'm a transhumanist and he is against those ideas. But anyway, like I said, it can be with any religion. So, yeah, if you look at most religion, you can usually find a way to fit it in. For example, with paganism, many see it as can take in the master student, the master student dynamics. They're in a lot of the culture where modern paganism comes from. You have Roman, Greek, and so on. It was common for a master and a student to, well, have a relatively dominant, submissive sexual relations. You can have the concept, for example, that the submissive is the master's assistant. He's an assist with rituals and so on and so forth. The possibilities are very big. In any religion, you can find ways to fit it in there and find roles. And placements within that religion that will facilitate a dominant submissive relationship. If you go back to Christianity, it's easy. If you have a man and a woman, you can just follow scripture there. So, yes. Now, as for magical BDSM, what's that? Well, magical BDSM is using BDSM as part of a magical act. Simple as that. Basically, for most of it, it is sex magic with a BDSM twist. But some also use basically non-sexual activities, like, for example, the strongest gnosis I have ever been able to attain was during a spanking session. And I mean, this isn't something new. Magic users, shamans, and so on have used pain as a way to enter altered states of consciousness, or as long as these arts have existed. So this isn't something new. Now it's all sort of magic that use pain. It is a magic? No, of course not, because it's like I said, it's been part of these practices for a long time, and a lot of people still use them, and that doesn't make them BDSM magic. I mean, even within, for example, traditional Guardian Wicca, you have flogging as part of several rituals, and I wouldn't call that a BDSM twist to it, because those kinds of dynamics isn't in place. That isn't the goal of it. But yeah, it can. Many do use this as part of ritual, and it can be anything. I mean, one of my fantasies is to be forced to stand on all fours, possibly chained up, and have a nice reading quote laid off my back, and then have to stand still while the dominant party uses me as a table for laying down tarot cards. And that's a form of BDSM magic. Again, you can go back to what I said about pagan. BDSM, you can have the sub being the apprentice, the sub being the master's servant, and thereby attaining spirituality by serving him. You also have ideas for basically where the master take control of the energy work and so on of the submissive. Basically, being the one that orders such things to happen. And for some people I have talked with, that makes a submissive able to raise energies and send them out for spell work just on command. There's a lot of different ways, and I think there's as many ways to arrange this as there are BDSM magicians. And of course, you can do just plain straight up sex magic with a BDSM twist to it. Now, as for what BDSM magic is not. Now, when I speak with a lot of other occultists, and the topic goes to BDSM sex magic, they say, "Oh, but that has to be so negative energies." I say, "Why? Why would they be there? But it's involving pain and slavery and so on." And here's what these people need to understand. For those of us who are into these things, it's not negative. It's like, look at it this way. If I were forced to go on an enormous hiking trip, have my feet blistered, crap in the woods, be wet and cold from rain and so on, I would be pretty miserable. I would not like that, and it would be a pretty negative experience. Chances are, when we got to that ritual spot, and I started doing my started getting my mucho on, chances are there would be a bit of negative energy in there because of my mindset to it. On the other hand, for me, BDSM is positive. It is fun, it's enlightening, and it feels right and relaxing for me. Therefore, the energies that starts flowing in me from that are positive. And as such, basically, of course, there are idiots in all types of sexuality, but generally the BDSM community prides itself on everybody involved being consensual. They are there because they want to. Meaning, after the sex magician who just did a ritual by flogging his partner, did not kidnap her off the street. He met her somewhere, they got to know one another, they decided this was something they wanted to do, and they got doing it. So, how does that translate into negativity? And again, I have to draw up the example of the initiation ritual within Gerardian Wicca, where they do flog the one to be initiated. They actually tie her up, him or her, tie him or up, often naked, flog them. And is this negative? Does that mean that everything that comes from that initiation is negative? No, because the person wants to be there. There is very cathartic reasons for these acts. And there's nothing wrong with them. And I know that when somebody doesn't have the desire for kink, see kink magic, it must seem very overwhelming. It must seem like this is horrible and abuse. But really, it isn't. Like, for example, with my example, then I didn't even try to. I didn't try to seek gnosis. We were just having a fun spanking session, and then this first I sink down into this altered state of consciousness. Everything is just so much clearer, and then I feel this just energy within me, and this feeling that I could do anything, that I could just reach out with that energy and do anything. And it's an amazing feeling, and I don't see how you can say it is negative, that it creates negative energy, because it really isn't dark. I think that's what the problem is. Very many people call BDSM dark sexuality. It's not. It's not dark. It is an activity that two or more people enjoy to do with one another. And I mean, if this isn't for you, then just don't seek it out. So yeah, it is not dark, negative, and so on. It is positive for those of us that are involved with it. So, if you want to learn more about spiritual BDSM, of course you are free to post a message down there or send me a mail or something like that. I also have a list on Amazon of listings you can make with books that are very useful to getting into spiritual and magical BDSM, and I'm going to post a link to that below. So yeah, if I go, let me just go over a few of those possibilities for magical dynamics. One I heard about was basically owner and magical artifact. Basically, the sub becomes the magical tool of the dominant. Basically, they, like I said, they might be trained so that they call energy on command, They may be used for anything from cleaning the ritual space to blessing. Basically, the um, sub is the tool, the magical artifact, and so on, the one that helps the dominant within his or her magic, helps him or her develop themselves by providing this service. Another dynamic is basically the master and the sacrifice. And no, I am not thinking about stab murdering one another sacrificing. I am thinking that basically the sub is walking a sacrificial role. And by that I mean that they sacrifice their time, they sacrifice their effort, and so on to advance their master's spiritual. Now, this can be as simple as instead of pouring rice in the sacrificial bowl, when the time for sacrifice comes within the ritual, the master might sacrifice the sub's time and send him or her out to do charity work, and so on. Things that he thinks the gods will be pleased at. That's one dynamic. Another dynamic is basically that you have the magician, that is the master, and the submissive become the altar. Basically, a little bit like I said with that tarot table, but for example, she becomes the receptacle, is that the right word? Basically, the one that receives his magical energies in ritual magic, and you know how he or she receives those. And the ritual table might be set up on his or her back, and so on, and the energies of the submissive mixed within the ritual to enhance it. Now, a lot of people who are basically BDSM ritualists, they will have many of these archetypes and more in play at once. It's not like you have to choose this one or this one or this one. You most have several of them, but generally the concept is that the sub serves the dominant within his or her magical work. And of course you can have non-BS BDSM magic too, where pain and all sorts of things are used to further both of their magical work. So you have a lot of various concepts to work with. Yeah, like I said, this is a very short, well, it's actually not a very short video since it's coming up on 19 minutes, but it's a relatively undetailed video because it is a big topic, and I didn't really want to make a huge, enormous talking point about all the possibilities and so on, because then we will be here until the cows come home. My point was more to just give a little bit of an introduction about what this is, so that when people ask me what basically spiritual and magical BDSM is, I can point them to this video and say, here are some basic points about it. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Have a great day. Blessed be.